Hey guys, how are you all going?
Good.
This is for my assessment. I'm going to talk today about a couple of things. Building like a home of excellence, okay? Building a home that is godly. And I'm going to use this prop, and it's the book that Mum and I bought. It's obviously goes back to a bit of our history in France. It's about a chateau, Chateau de Goudains it's called. And in here's a lot of pictures and a bit of a story about this particular chateau. It's an old house. And so what I want to talk today about is building a house or building a home of honour and of excellence and a safe home. All right. And so obviously we know a house is where the family lives. We've got our house and we live in this house and we've got this family. But what I want to talk about is the home, which is a little bit different to the house. Because our house is where we live, but our home is where we belong. And I want to talk about belonging. I want to talk about what it means to contribute and build a great home. Because everybody wants to belong, right? You want to belong to something, to someone, to a group of people. You live a lonely existence and a life that isn't very fun at all. And so what I want to talk about is this house, right? Now this house is very, very old. It was built in the 1700s, so it's over 273 years old. It's a long time. That's old, right? So that it's housed about, I can't remember how many generations, about 8 generations, 9 generations of families, which is pretty incredible. Anyway, this couple from Perth, they found the house, the chateau, over there in France. They were wanting to buy something overseas, and so they jumped online, and as you do, right, you just jump online to buy a house. Without seeing it, they bought it. And so they went over there to France. It was in southern France, and this book tells a bit of a story about their journey. This is the chateau. It's very old. When they actually found it, it was empty and had been for quite a number of years, over 10, 15 years. I think it was even longer than that. And when they actually first arrived, it was an absolute mess. That's sort of the picture of today, of where it is. And as they went in, they bought it. They were a little surprised at how run down it was. If I can find some of the pictures here, you can see that some of the doors had been kicked in and just rotted. All the timber had rotten. A whole section of the floor, because it's 2 stories high, had actually caved in, and there was no floor or ceiling. So on the bottom floor, you could look up straight to the very top of the very ceiling, and there's no floor or stairs to go up there. And so what they had to do was begin to restore the house. The importance of the house, so obviously house the family, the home, was important to them, and so they wanted to start to restore it. And as they began to do that, they began to tell their story on Instagram and Facebook. And all of a sudden, people started knocking on the door, turning up, and saying, we want to help build the house, restore the house, rebuild the house to its former glory. And so I want to sort of get a picture of this whole idea that yes, we can build a house, and the house is important, and looking after the house. Who knows that if we didn't put our rubbish in the bin, the house would be quite dirty, right? Piling up. I've actually been in a house where they had they didn't put the rubbish in the bins, and they were quite lazy, and some of the people were sick in the house, and they had rubbish piled on the house, and they had little pathways just to go to the lounge room, and a pathway that went to the TV, pathway that went through to the bathroom, a pathway, and there was rubbish everywhere. And they got sick all the time. They were not happy. They fought, all those sorts of things, and it was not a great house at all. But they got some help, and some people came in because they were hoarders and helped clean the house out. And who knows that it does. It takes work to keep a house clean. It takes work to actually make a house comfortable, to be enjoyable, so that it doesn't smell. It takes work. And it takes everybody contributing to that. So I want to talk about belonging and being a place to belong. So we have a house, but is it a home? Because a home is where you belong. A home is where you find a place to belong. You find who you are when you belong in your family. When you find your place in the family, you belong. You have a reason. You find purpose when you belong in a family, when you belong in a household. You find people you can share with, share interests. We love the football. So those who like the football, we share that common thing. Those who like art, they share that common thing. Those who like reading lots of books, they share that together, which is really good. But also, you find people who support you and encourage you in a place where you belong. When you find your people, when you have your family, you have support. So if you're feeling down or you need help with something, you've got someone who's there that can help you carry a load or do a task, and that's important. But also to encourage you that when you're feeling down and you feel like you can't do something, and someone can give you encouragement. Isn't that right? And that's important too. But also people who love you and care about you, that are concerned for you, for your well-being, for your life, for your future, for your relationships. That's the importance of being in part of a community, being a part of a family to belong to. So, but to do that, it takes work, and you've got to create that. And so with these, same like with these guys, to actually restore the house, they really realized that they needed help. And help actually just came as they began to tell the story, began to show pictures, and they began to put them up on Instagram. A lot of different people began to knock on the door and say, we're here to help. And so they did. And what they did is they would then go and buy them meals. They would supply food, and people began to actually contribute to the household. People would begin to scraping back all the paint and taking back off the layers. They began to pull out all the rotted timber and replace them back in again. And they actually, as you can see there in the picture, there was a whole bunch of these. These aren't family. These are random people from right across the world. Came from England. They came from America. They came from Norway. They came from Australia. They came from all these different countries just because they wanted to be a part of restoring some history. And as they began to do that, they found that the stories of these people, they were lonely. They didn't have anything to sort of live for. And as they began to help, they began to belong to this group. And as they worked together, as they restored that house together, they found a place to belong and became like family. And it's incredible, the stories. But as they began to go from room to room and peel back all the different layers, they found all this history of the different stories of all the families that also had been there. They found all the paperwork, but they also then began to restore the house, and to a point where people can actually come and stay there and live there and share in the history. They've got so many rooms in that house for people to come and live and stay. And now people are going there as an Airbnb, and they'll stay for a week. And a part of that stay there is that you actually get to contribute to being part of restoring this house. And it takes work. It takes everybody's effort that we all need to contribute to a place of belonging. If we don't, what happens is that only one person ends up carrying all the weight, cleaning up all the mess, and that causes tension, and it causes fights. But if we want to be able to contribute and belong somewhere, we actually need to contribute. We need to actually put our effort in as well, and because it's not all about us, but it's about us collectively. See, God values family as well. He designed the very first family, Adam and Eve, from the very beginning. And I think that's a great reason for us to value family, because God first does. And I think the way that we can do that very practically is you just bring your best. When you bring your best, everybody wins. When you bring what you've got within your hand, simple. We've all got different skills. We've all got different abilities. Some are better at washing up than others. Some are better at maybe putting on the clothes or hanging up the washing. Some are better at vacuuming than others. But also, some are good listeners. Some are great talkers, aren't they? Some are great at hugs. I'm pretty good at hugs. Others are good at listening and really caring. Others are very good at gift giving and creating gifts for people, and actually taking the time to listen to each other's needs and to be concerned for each other. And we bring what we're good at. If it's just fixing something, if you're good at fixing something, well, you get to contribute. Go and change that light bulb, or fix the squeaky door. because that's irritating for everybody else. But what we bring is our best. We bring what we have in our hand, what we're good at. Someone's good at cooking, very good at cooking. Everyone gets fed, everyone's happy. But who also knows that we can get sick of everyone's cooking? Maybe someone else needs to cook because they might not do it. So, a roast chicken is one of my best. Or on the barbecue is always the best. But we do it together. All right? It's important as a family we do it together, not just leaving it to one person, because they can get tired and they get worn out and then not want to, contribute or be hanging out with each other and get frustrated with each other. Yep. Are we all perfect? No. But as we put our hands together and we do this together, it makes it easier for everyone, hey? So just like this is important that we do this all together. Great, guys?
Great.
Alrighty.